Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, folks, the NCAA is begging Congress to come in and save their booty, and I don't think they're going to do it. And look, this is all about Tennessee. And understand something, we didn't ask for this.
They drew first blood, not me.
That's right. They drew first blood, not us. Now they're going to Congress because they got their booty kicked. But we got to get into this because this is very interesting. And Paul Feinbaum had some unique things to say, too. He didn't hold back. And this shouldn't surprise you. This has been reported all over. This is by Blake Topmeyer of USA Today, also the Knox News. It says, NCAA cries for help after loss to Tennessee. Expect no mercy. Oh, there will be no mercy.
No mercy.
I can promise you that. Not from Tennessee or from Congress. And it talks about Charlie Baker, who is the president of the NCAA. Now, Charlie Baker seems like a nice enough guy. He really does. But he came out and said this back in November.
Right now, there are no rules around how name, image, and likeness works. And for your audience, that's the opportunity for student athletes to benefit from their name, image, and likeness.
But then they went back and retroactively decided to make rules that didn't really exist. They did have some guidelines, but those are not rules that are fixed. They just put out some memos that said maybe do this, maybe do that.
It's because we have definitely been, the NCAA has definitely been slow to move on a lot of things. And it's created real issues for student athletes and for the membership.
They weren't sure what to do. Look, they were literally falling backwards because the Supreme Court had taken them down 9-0 over NIL. So I really think they didn't know what to do. They really didn't. So they got this new president in. He's the new sheriff in town. And he decided, I don't know that it was his decision, though. This felt like maybe some NCAA people inside that have been there for years and years that have that mentality. And that's one of the things Paul Feinbaum sort of alluded to, and we'll get into him in a minute. But I listened to Charlie Baker. It was an interview with ESPN, and it was an hour long.
But I don't want to bore you with those.
Thanks.
You're welcome. It was not entertaining. But he said some things that sounded very reasonable. He seems like a nice guy. But he got into this rich person problem mindset. And he said what kids should do, and the ESPN reporter, kind of pushed him on it and said, hey, what about NIL? Shouldn't they figure out what they're owed or what they're going to get if they go there first before committing? And he kind of went into that rich guy mindset, and he graduated from Harvard, okay? So how connected do you think he is to regular folks? He said, no, what you need to do is, pick out the university that's best for you, that has the best culture and has the best fit for you as a human being and blah, 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 that kind of stuff. And then you can worry about NIL afterwards. Well, that's super easy to do when you're at Harvard and you got unlimited money. Most of these kids are not rich.
Hello?
As a matter of fact, they're normally the exact opposite of that. And they've come up in a tough childhood. Their parents, a lot of times they have a one-parent situation. They don't have any money to speak of. Their mother, a lot of times, doesn't have any money. So they've struggled their whole life. They get an opportunity to get some money, and you think they're going to go, well, maybe this would be the best place for me long term. No, they need some money. Okay, that's what they're going to go after, and you can't blame them for it. Imagine the life-changing circumstances of being able to go back with $100,000 to your mom and say, here, we're going to pay off the house, and we're going to get you a nice car, instead of some jalopy that you're driving. So I cannot blame them a bit, and I feel like he's not connected enough to regular folks to understand that not everybody grew up in Boston, Mass, and then attended Harvard, which is, it is what it is. But this is all about them losing in court, where Judge Corker granted a temporary injunction in favor of Tennessee and Virginia. The injunction freezes the NCAA's flimsy NIL rules. In the absence of guardrails, NIL inducements shall flow freely. Yeah, they will. They already have been. You don't think people have been getting money? I mean, give me a break. And there's nothing, I don't have any problem with it. Honestly, I don't. They need to have some sort of guardrails. I agree with that. But this should have been done very differently. They should have gone into this, met with about 10 of the top collectives, and brought in 10 representatives from universities with the NCAA and said, what kind of rules can we set up? Because understand, the collectives are the ones that are meeting with the kids. Now, you probably couldn't have brought in 10 kids that are NCAA athletes that could have openly discussed this, because they'd have been afraid the NCAA had done something to them. But if you brought in the collectives, they could represent them because they're the ones that are actually talking to them about money. and bring them in and the top people from the universities and try to figure out some reasonable guardrails that the collectives can live with, universities can live with, and the players. Because the players, if the collectives are happy, I would think they're reasonably happy. You might have had to bring in some players too. You would have had to give them perfect anonymity. It's a hard word to say. And made sure that they felt like there was no way anything could be done to them if they openly discussed the situation. And then come up with some guardrails that way, not the way they did it. They came in and laid the hammer down, and they went after FSU, gave them some stupid show cause over nothing, and then were attacking Tennessee. And then what did they do? And this is why I think this had to do with some people back in the NCAA that had been there for years. They did the old school thing. They leaked out information to the Pat Fordays and the Dennis Dodds and let them run wild with it. And they started using terms like death penalty for Tennessee. Well, what do you think we were going to do?
Don't push it. I'll give you a war you won't believe. Let it go.
Oh, yeah. And understand, we warned them. When they put all that, we warned them, and they didn't back off. So guess what? We wound up in court, and we're whooping their butts. And the judge has already told them they're going to lose. They're going to lose. But they were warned. I don't want to hear them cry and complain either. They didn't have to go this route, but they did. So be it.
Didn't want to do it. Felt I owed it to them.
So this story says Baker is a broken record stuck on a bad song. A year into the job, he's become a parody of his predecessor. And Congress doesn't care about this. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you there's no way they're taking this up. First of all, Marsha Blackburn, the senator from Tennessee, has already ripped them. Then you've got a couple other senators up there saying, there's no way. We're not going to help you keep these kids from getting money. It's not going to happen. You're wasting your time. So they might as well forget it, but they're going to keep begging. Yeah, and Blackburn said, until the NCAA gets its act together, there'll be no get-out-of-jail-free cards. And she said anything with them is dead on arrival in Congress. And then Senator Chris Murphy suggested the NCAA ought to pursue collective bargaining with athletes rather than a golden ticket from Congress. So they're not getting any cooperation from Congress on this. They're just not. You're wasting your time. But now let's talk about Paul Feinbaum and what he had to say about the NCAA. First of all, he said they waved the white flag by asking Congress to step in, and that NCAA has been brought to their knees because of this case. And he said they deserve this. He said they're arrogant and out of control people. And I guess he felt like they had it coming, and it certainly did. So Paul Feinbaum, as usual, didn't hold back. That's the one thing that's very entertaining about Feinbaum, whether you like him or don't. He'll tell you what he thinks. You may not like it, but he's gonna lay it out there. And he takes a lot of grief for it sometimes from this guy. But you know what? At least he lays it out there. And I agree with him. I think this was an arrogant move by an NCAA that's stuck in their mindset of we're in charge. We can do whatever we want. This is the way we've always done it. We leak the stuff out. That's why they never actually talk or put out a press release about an investigation, because they don't have to. They've got their minions that they send out.
Now fly!
And put the information out, which that's aggravating when you're the team that's being investigated and you start hearing articles about death penalty. That's going to set you off, guaranteed. And the NCAA ought to know better than that, but that's the way they've always done it. They use fear tactics. Well, that's worked for a long time. No more. There is no more fear of the NCAA. You think you're going to come in here with all this, your fangs and your claws? That's not the way it's going to work.
Don't let this big blowhard scare you anymore. Just walk right past them.
Yeah, Tennessee took those fangs out. Sure did. And now they can't do much of anything. And I'm here for it. I'll just go ahead and tell you, it didn't have to be this way. It's the way they wanted it. Okay. Next time, if there is a next time, you might want to rethink things a little bit before you come in like a bull in a china shop, because universities aren't going to take that crap anymore, and athletes aren't either. They know they can go to court and put a stop to it. So we'll see how this plays out. But going up to Congress and begging and doing all that, that's not going to work. You're wasting your time, NCAA. You're just going to have to start being reasonable and hope there's something left of you and that we can kind of rebuild you into something that helps our universities and helps the game. And it can be done that way. Eventually that it'll play out. But there's going to be a lot of changes, and I can't tell you exactly what they're going to be, but there's going to be a lot of changes, and it'll get worked out. There's too much money involved for it not to get worked out, and there's too much interest. NCAA football is the most popular sport next to, I guess, NFL, and they're both unbelievably popular. When they go into this 12-team playoff, look out. The ratings on the cable channels are going to go through the roof for these games. Jeez, it's going to be unbelievable. I'm going to watch every one of those games, and I don't watch every bowl game, but I'll watch every one of those games, especially if my Vols are in it. Oh, gosh. I don't know if I'll be able to handle it. I'll be so excited. Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's continue to cover all this NCAA stuff, and, of course, my Vols, the SEC, and any other big stories out there. If you have not subscribed, right over here is a little button. If you will hit that, it'll help you get my videos without having to go through a lot of crap, because sometimes it's hard to get them because of the algorithm, and I don't understand how the algorithm works.
Who are you? I am the architect. I created the Matrix. I've been waiting for you.
Yeah, it's perplexing to me, but anyway, it will help you. Well, and it helps me. Maybe it helps me. Help me, help you, help me. Anyway, I need to shut up. And right over here's the most recent video. YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.